Okay, youth, we are coming at you with a two-part series all about your parents, all about kind of life at home. And that's what the series is called. It's called Home, and it's all in the hope that as we explore as we explore what it means to honour your parents, that it has to help you at home, to help to make life easier at home, to help to make your parents' life easier, to help you love them better, respect them, fear them and obey them. And I know already that as I say kind of respect and obey your parents, you're like, Ross, what are you doing to us? You're telling us to obey our parents. Bear with me. Okay, bear with me with today's session as I kind of encourage you, as I try and explore what it means to obey, why we should obey and all that kind of stuff. Bear with me and bear with me next week's talk as well. And hopefully, over these next 2 weeks, if you were to take some of these principles that we look at today and look at next week, and if you were to apply them to your home, to apply them to your relationships with your parents, then your home may become an easier place to live. Your relationship with your parents might be better. And actually, you'll kind of see like, oh man, actually this is a good way to live, to honour my mother and father, even when it's kind of a bit weird and odd and scary to think about what that might look like. But as we start, I want to introduce you to my parents, and you've probably seen them over the last few years as I do my talks. I talk about them a lot. Obviously, I have a mum and a dad, and they're called Steve and Claire. I have a brother called Ryan, and he has a fiance called Katie. And my mum and dad had 2 dogs, and they're kind of our dogs as well, because we got them for mum for Christmas. And their names are Dylan and Ruby, and they are like just full of energy and joy. And you know, I put a picture up of them sitting on me, but basically they still think they're puppies and they can sit on us. And now they're like 2 years old, fully grown, big dogs, and they just still clumber all over us. And even though now I am 30, my mum and dad still speak into my life. My mum and dad still tell me off. They still give me advice. They can still clip me round the ear roll. Basically, one of my mum's pet peeves is people that don't say please and thank you. So if you want to get close to my mum's heart, just say please and thank you very, very often. And even though I'm 30, if my mum was to do something for me or give me something, if I don't say please or thank you, she'll do one of those like things where she holds it until I say thank you or whatever. Or if I'm with someone and my mum's there and they give me something or they do something for me and I don't say thank you, my mum will be like, Ross, what do you say? Even though I'm 30. And even though I'm 30, my mum and dad still speak, they still tell me off, like Ross, what are you doing? Why are you buzzing your hair again? You do not need a number 2, you look stupid. They still say that. They still question my fashion sense sometimes. They still question me and my brother's tattoos. At times, me and my brother both have tattoos, and there are some tattoos that my mum and dad like, what are you doing? Okay, I don't like it. Just be careful, Ross. Be careful, Ryan. Don't do anything stupid. They still speak into our lives even though we're 30 and 28. And you might be thinking, Ross, why are you letting your parents speak into your life? Why are you allowing your parents to like tell you off still, clip you around the ear roll and all that kind of stuff? You're a fully grown adult. Your brother is a fully grown adult. Well, here is why. Because they are still my parents. They are still my parents, so they still have a responsibility. They still have the right, okay, to give me advice, to speak into my life, to tell me off when I'm going wrong, and just to give me a behave yourself, Ross. Do I always listen though to my mum and dad? No. Do I always listen to my mum's advice about my haircuts? My mum's there's a certain hairstyle my mum wants me to have. Do I always listen to that? No. Do I listen to my mum's fashion advice? No. Do I take it into consideration? Of course. Do I always go to my dad for car advice? 100%. Always. I always go to my dad for car advice when it's all going wrong. Do I always take that advice? No. And there's a testament to that is looking at my car sometimes when it goes into the garage and looking at the bill that is required to fix it. If I was to listen to my dad, I probably wouldn't need to spend as much as I sometimes do. Okay? Are my mum and dad amazing parents? Absolutely. Do I love them dearly? 100%. Are they perfect parents? No. But am I a perfect kid? Definitely not. And if I can't be a perfect kid, why should I put the pressure on them to be the perfect parents? So before we get started in this series, before we get started in this talk, Keith, I want to just say one thing. cut them some slack. They are trying to do their best. They love you dearly. So cut them some slack. So the overall passage for this series, this 2-week series, is a small passage. It's like one sentence, one verse. But it's a big one and an important one, and sometimes maybe a hard one as well. It's the 5th commandment out of the 10 commandments, and it's a very important commandment if you are a child. And it's mentioned 8 times in the Bible, and it is this. It's in Exodus 20, verse 12, and it is this. Honour your father and mother. Honour your father and mother. Honour your dad and your mum. Okay, that is it. That's our overall passage. So, I want you to pause this video and I want you to think about this question. So honouring someone means to respect someone and to hold them in high esteem. But what does it mean to respect someone? Well, it means to admire them, to hold them in high regard. And esteem means a large amount of respect. So to honour your mother and father, to honour your mum and dad, you should have great admiration and respect for them always. And in the context of honouring your mum and dad, there could be 3 things that you can do to do that. And we will explore in multiple ways those 3 things. But these are 3 things that you could try and implement into your life, into your relationship with your mum and dad, to honour them. And it's these 3 things. The first one is this. Prize them highly. Okay, prize them highly. The second is care and show affection to them. And the third is to respect and fear them. But before we go deep into the practical side of all this, we need to know our why. And why is a very important question. We all need to know our why behind why we're doing something or why we might do something. And as kids, we've all asked the question, why? We've all irritated our parents with why to everything our mum and dad says. And maybe when we're a bit older, we might go, Mum, can I do this? Can I have this, please? And your mum says no. And you go, why? And your mum might have said, well, because I said so. But why? Because I'm your mum and I said no. Or it might be like, Dad, can I go out, please? Can I go here? And your dad says no. But why? I want to go out. And your dad says no. And you're like, but why? And your dad says, because I'm your dad and I said no. Okay, that is kind of what happens when I was a kid. And I'm sure it's happened as well. Your mum and dad have brought out the good old reason why they've said no, because I'm your mum or because I'm your dad and I have said so. And then you have to just listen to them because you need a lift to get to places. We've all asked why. We've all stamped our feet and asked why. Okay? And why generally is a good question to ask. And it's always good to know the why behind we're doing something or we might do something. So again, I want you to pause this video and have a think about this question. So, what answers did you come up with? Why should you prize them highly? Why should you care and show affection to them? Why should you respect and fear them? So whatever your answers are as well, you can add some of my thoughts as well to it as well. So why should you prize them highly? Youth, they sacrifice a lot for you. They sacrifice a lot for you. They have a ton of life experience. They are older than you. They have a lot more wisdom than you. My parents have a lot more wisdom than me. They have lived this life a lot longer. They know how to navigate this crazy world. They know what can hurt you. And more often than not, they know what is best for you. Okay? So, prize them highly and, honour them in that way. Like, okay, my parents have lived this life a lot longer than me. They have a lot more wisdom than me. They know what can hurt me and they want what is best for me. Second thing you can do, think about care and show affection, is you may not like it, you may not be an affectionate person, but it's not always about me and you. And as you get older, as your parents let go of you, trust you with other things, release the boundaries, allow you to go out to further places for longer periods of time, as you hang out maybe less with them and more with your friends and all that kind of stuff, your parents are feeling that they are losing you. And they are often worried about you. They're often worried about the decisions you may make. They're often worried about where you are, what you're doing, if you're hurt, or if you're going to get up to a little bit of trouble. So one thing you can do to honour them is to care and show affection for them. Allow them to care for you, and you care for them. Allow them to hug you and show you affection, and you hug them and show them affection. Allow them to smother you with kisses and you kiss them. Allow them to give you a hug when you come in. Allow them to say like they love you, and you say that back to them as well. And hang out with them. Allow them to hang out with you and hang out with them as well. It's so important to hang out with your parents and allow your parents to hang out with you. Third, respect and fear them. Okay, respect and fear them. Not like you should be like, cowering whenever they come into the room. That shouldn't be happening. But fear and respect in a sense is they have been given a massive task before God to raise you, grow you, and nurture you spiritually, physically, and emotionally. They have been given that task by God, and they are responsible before God for what they do in your life. I don't know if you ever watched Boss Baby, but it's like your mum and dad saying, okay, God, we are ready for a baby. And God's like, okay, this is the task. And your mum and dad have said, yeah, okay, I'm ready. And kind of God gives you a baby, but nothing like the Boss Baby. Okay, your parents have been given a massive task. And they've been given a task to be your spiritual trainers, your emotional trainers, your physical trainers in some way. They've been basically given tasks. Like everyone loves a life hack. And your parents have kind of in some ways been given the main task to give you the best life hacks to survive this crazy, sometimes dangerous, amazing, beautiful world. But let's take a look at an encounter that Jesus had with his parents when he was a boy. And it's in Luke 2, 41 to 52. And as I read this, I want you to think about, in this section, how has Jesus prized them highly? How has he cared and shown affection for them? How has he respected and feared them? And it goes like this. It's Luke 2, 41 to 52. And it goes like this. Every year, Jesus' parents went to Jerusalem for Passover festival. When Jesus was 12 years old, they attended the festival as usual. After the celebration was over, they started home to Nazareth, but Jesus stayed behind in Jerusalem. His parents didn't miss him at first because they assumed he was among the other travellers. But when he didn't show up that evening, they started looking for him among their relatives and friends. When they couldn't find him, they went back to Jerusalem to search for him there. 3 days later, they finally discovered him in the temple, sitting among the religious teachers, listening to them and asking questions. All who heard him were amazed at his understanding and his answers. His parents didn't know what to think. Son, his mother said to him, why have you done this to us? Your father and I have been frantic, searching for you everywhere. But why did you need to search? He asked. Didn't you know that I must be in my father's house? But they didn't understand what he meant. Then he returned to Nazareth with them and was obedient to them. And his mother stored all these things in her heart. And Jesus grew in wisdom and in stature and in favour with God and all the people. So, Jesus had a why. Jesus had a why behind something. Okay, he had a why behind his reasoning. He had a why behind why he went back with his parents. And ultimately, it was in verse 51 where it says this. Those three things we just talked about prizing them highly, showing care and affection, respecting and fearing them, can all be boiled down to verse 51, which says this. Then he returned to Nazareth with them and was obedient to them. Jesus, the Son of God, who was kind of growing up as a boy, learning the way of life, learning the scriptures and stuff like that, learning wisdom and all that kind of stuff, obeyed his earthly parents. Okay? He knew the why behind why he should obey them. They have sacrificed a lot for him. Okay? When your parents gave birth to you, when they decided to have you, they sacrificed a lot. Yes, they gained a lot in how much joy you give them and stuff like that. But they also sacrifice a lot. They sacrifice a lot of sleep. They sacrifice a lot of physical rest and that kind of stuff. And it's emotionally draining being parents as well. So he kind of he obeyed them because he kind of understood the why. There's a possibility that they feel like they were losing him. losing Jesus as he was growing in wisdom and as he was growing older. And also he obeyed them because he probably knew, most likely knew, that they had been given a great task to raise up Jesus. Of all kids to raise up, before God they had been given the task to raise up Jesus. So obedience is a key factor in all these three things, in prizing them highly, showing care and affection and respecting them. Obedience is a key factor. And obedience is not our favourite word, is it? We don't like the word obedience. We don't like saying, oh, we have to obey. But it's a really, really important word and principle, youth. Now, and as you grow older, and as you go into an adult, as you kind of leave home, it's a really important word. Jesus was obedient to his earthly parents. But Jesus was also obedient to his heavenly Father. It was Jesus' obedience that took him to the cross. It was Jesus' obedience that took him to his death. It was Jesus' obedience that took the punishment that we deserve upon him. It was Jesus' obedience that brought us freedom. It was Jesus' obedience that brought us back to our heavenly Father. Obedience is a key word and principle that we need to live by. Obeying our parents, no matter how old we are. So again, youth, I want you to pause this video and have a think about this question. So, with the things you wrote down, you can add some of the things that I'm going to suggest as well. So how can you prize them highly? How can we practically honour our parents, mum and dad? How can we prize them highly? One of the ways that you can prize them highly is not speaking badly about them. Okay? Do not speak badly about your parents behind their backs, to your friends, to other people. Do not speak badly about them. Do not slander them. Do not backstab them. Do not mimic them or take the mickey out of them. If you need to talk to someone about your parents because you're struggling maybe at home with them, or you're struggling with your relationship with them, then I suggest that you find someone that you trust that is older, that you can kind of talk about that. But do not talk badly about your parents to your friends. Honour them, okay? Honour them in that way, okay? And just have a better conversation with someone older that you trust if you are struggling with them. How can you care and show affection to them? A number of ways. Use your pocket money to buy them flowers, chocolate or drink. Write them a letter or card expressing your thanks. Do something that makes their life easier. Think every day when you wake up, what can I do to make my mum and dad's life easier today? It could be doing the dishes. It could be deciding to cook if you can cook. It could be tidying your bedroom. It could be helping out with your brother and sister. It could be doing your homework when they ask, or don't even get asked, just do it. Whatever you can do to make your parents' life easier, do it. Thirdly, how can you respect and fear them? Obey and trust them even when you don't understand. Your parents will make decisions that you don't understand that will frustrate you. Okay, your parents don't always get it right. Your parents sometimes might make you angry. They sometimes might irritate you and annoy you. But respect them, obey them, even when you don't understand why they are making decisions about your life. Okay, they have been given a great task by God to raise you up. So respect them and obey them and trust that the decisions they make in your life, okay, are for your good. They are trying to do their best. So obeying your parents shows that you respect them. Obeying your parents shows that you honour them. Obeying your parents shows that you understand the task that they've been given by God to raise you up. Obeying your parents shows that you care for them. Obeying your parents shows that you trust them. Your parents will do near enough anything for you. They love you. They want to make the best decisions for you, even when you don't understand. So care for them, hold them in high regard, prize them highly, respect and honour them.